All right, so this video is going to go through a couple of tips in order to tell if a number is divisible by 4 or if it's a multiple of 4. So, to begin with, is the number divisible by 4? If the last two numbers of it are divisible by 4, then the whole thing is divisible by 4. This works with large numbers. With smaller numbers, you may need to do a division problem. So if we have the number 524, we can look at these last two digits right here and ask ourselves, is 24 divisible by 4? Well, we know it is. We know 4 would go into 24 6 times. So that tells us this whole number is divisible by 4. So we could say, yes, this is a multiple of 4. So let's look at 736. Excuse me. We look at the last two digits, the one in the tens and the ones place, and we say to ourselves, is 36 divisible by 4, or will 4 go into 36 a number of times without having a remainder? Yes, it will. We know that 4 times 9 is 36. So that tells us that the whole number then will be divisible by 4, or that this number is a multiple of 4. Let's look at 1,348. Let's look at the tens and the ones placed together and ask ourselves, will 4 go into 48 evenly without having a remainder? And yes, it is, because we know 4 times 12 is 48. So that means that 1,348 is a multiple of 4. Let's look at 72. Well, off the top of my head, I'm not sure, but I could do a division problem. And when I do, I realize that 4 will go into 72 without having a remainder. So 72 would be a multiple of 4. And if you need to stop the video and do a division problem just to check and see if I'm right, you go right ahead and do that. All right? And the same thing with 96. Since I have my math facts memorized up to 12 times 12, I don't know off the top of my head whether 4 goes into 96 an even number of times without a remainder. But if I went over here and did a math problem, I would find that yes, indeed, 4 would go in there without having a remainder. It would go in there, let's see, 24 times. All right, so all of these numbers would be multiples of 4 based on this little trick and doing or doing a division problem to figure it out. So with the larger numbers, this works, but when you only have 2-digit numbers and you're not for sure, you might have to work it out with division to decide. And then the next one, I have to say, I think this is my favorite one. Is a number divisible by 6? Well, it has 2 tests, and it has to pass both tests in order to know. If the number is divisible by both 2 and 3, then it will be divisible by 6. So we know that in order to be divisible by 2, the number has to be even. So if you're trying to determine if a number is divisible by 6 and it's an odd number, well, you can just move on. And the second test it has to pass is it also has to be divisible by 3. And remember, that little trick was when you add the digits together, they must be divisible by 3. So let's look at this one, 1,236. Well, it's even, so it passes one of the tests. But now let's add up the digits. 1 plus 3 is 3, and 3 plus 3 is 6, and 6 plus 6 is 12. So will 3 go into 12? Yes, it will. So it passed the second test. So that means that this number right here will be divisible by 6 or will be a multiple of 6? All right, I'm going to add a little check mark in there. So we know that this one is divisible by 6. So let's look at this next one. Does it pass the first test? Is it divisible by 2? It's even, so hooray. Then we're going to try the second test. Is it divisible by 3? Let's add up the digits. What is 9 plus 4? It is 13. And what is 13 plus 8? It is 21. So that does not work. Because, oh, wait. It is 21. I don't know what I was thinking. It is 21. And will 3 go into 21? Yes, it will. So that means that 948 passed both tests. So it is divisible by 6. So let's try 903. Is it divisible by 2? Let's look at it. Oh, it's odd. Bam, you're out of here. We don't have to go any further. It didn't even pass the first test. So let's try 846. Is it divisible by 2? It's even, so yes it is. It passed the first test. Is it divisible by 3? Well, let's add up the numbers and find out. What is 8 plus 4? 8 plus 4 is 12, and 12 plus 6 is 18. So will 3 go into 18? Yes, it will. So it passed the second test. That means that 846 will be divisible by 6 or will be a multiple of 6. Let's try this one, 6006. Is it divisible by 2? It's even, so yes it is. It passed the first test. Then we want to add up the digits to see if it will pass the second test. 6 plus 0 plus 0 plus 6 is 12. Will 3 go into 12? It sure will. So that means that 6006 is divisible by 6. So these are the numbers that are multiples of 6. And Mr. 903 doesn't work.